What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. You're tuned into another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. We are your hosts, Fred and Dre. We drop episodes every Wednesday and Friday in the NFL season. Subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at Flea Flicker Show. Dre, tell them what we got going on.
Yeah, what's up, Fred? So, it's another recap show. This is is it week 12 recap already? Is that what we're at?
Week 12 recap. It was an exciting it should be an exciting recap. It was Thanksgiving, so we had a lot of football, a lot more days of football. So
First Black Friday game.
First Black Friday game, yeah.
And a coach firing on Thanksgiving. Well, a couple days after Thanksgiving. Tough. That is tough.
Tough break. A few more coaches that are on the hot seat as well. So
yeah, there's quite a few coaches on the hot seat at this point in time. There was no crazy quarterback injury this week, though. So that was something to be thankful for. Because there were like 5 weeks in a row where we lost a starting quarterback for the season.
Might have been 6 weeks. I don't know, but it was bad there at some point, and you had to expect that somebody was going to get hurt from like a contending team or something. I was so nervous. I was very worried about Monday night. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but what do we got going on here? Let's get into it and talk about this recap. I know we got a busy slate come to start with the Thursday game, so got a few of them.
Yep. Let's get right into them. Thanksgiving Thursday. Some of these games, didn't think were going to be too good, but the first game, the 12 p.m. game in Detroit, the Packers were in there, and this was a surprising game. It was a surprising game. Maybe we shouldn't have been surprised because the Lions like to disappoint their fans on Thanksgiving for some reason. I thought that
they haven't won on Thanksgiving, like their last 11 or 12 appearances or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I thought this would be different. We should have known. The Packers took it 29-22, and it was just a bad game. Jared Goff fumbled the game away, 3 fumbles in this one. Jordan Love was crushing it, slinging the ball, looking like Aaron Rodgers' rookie year when he started getting better. Prime time. The Lions just couldn't handle the pressure, really. Rashawn Gary on defense, 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. The Packers were pretty impressive in this game. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but this game, they were very impressive.
Yeah, I agree. They're very impressive. They showed out on the big stage and really put people on notice that they're not going to be a slouch. They might not make the playoffs, but they're definitely not going to be a pushover to finish the season. They're not tanking for anything. So I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. But I will want to say PSA to everybody. I do apologize. I'm very nasally this weekend, and I might go off camera a little bit. We're all battling some illnesses in the house here, and it's that time of year. But audio quality there is a little bit lacking on my side. So but anyway. I digress. Continue.
Yeah. Packers, like you said, they're pretty much putting everyone on notice by beating the Lions here. Like, hey, we're not a walk in the park. So let's move to the 4:30 slate. The Commanders heading into Dallas on on Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Get ahead of yourself, man.
Yeah, the Commanders can't wait for the new year after this one. I'll tell you what. The Cowboys took this 45-10. It looked like they were playing like a high school team. It was not a good game for the Commanders at all. Complete domination on the Cowboys side. So much so that Dak Prescott was literally eating turkey in the middle of the game. Like didn't have a care in the world. And the Commanders fired their D coordinator after the game, Jack Del Rio. Another Thanksgiving firing. Unfortunate timing.
That one was a Thanksgiving firing. They fired him right after the game. But actually, this game for the first half wasn't terrible. The Commanders were right there with a minute and 50 left in the first half. They scored, and it was a 4-point game. But then they allowed the Cowboys to score again within the minute and 50 that they had the ball. So Cowboys took a 10-point lead going in the half, and the second half was just literally all Cowboys. There was no scoring by Washington, and the Cowboys just took over. So it was a game that we expected them to win. But one thing I will point out is Sam Howell continues to put up numbers, even though they were terrible and got washed. He still put up 376 passing yards. So that is that's total yardage. I apologize. I'm a fucking moron. But he put up 260 passing yards. Still a solid outing for him. Go ahead and delete that, Adrian.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam Howell still looks good. I still think he can be a starting quarterback in this league. The big news out of this game, though, was Deron Bland getting his 5th pick six of the year, breaking the record, shattering the record maybe, because he's still got quite a few games left to go. He just looks like a ball hawk out there. It's like every other game he's getting a pick six.
I will say one of the pick sixes is a little bit debatable. The first one looked a little bit more like a strip to me than an interception. The guy caught it, took like a step or two, and then the ball got taken. So they deemed it to be an interception and not a fumble recovery. But either way, still very impressive. The Cowboys, they seem to find these corners that are like are able to be ball hawks and get those interceptions, but also get burned a lot. So it's either one way or the other with them. But they seem to find these guys. Diggs is the same way, and he's where he replaced Diggs on the outside. So
I'm a
it's
little
interesting
scared to see them play together at this point.
Yeah. It would be pretty
year.
scary. I know Bland was the slot, and is he better at the slot than he is at the outside, or
I mean, he seems to
he's
be
only in
better
his second year, so
yeah, they definitely got a little firecracker there, though.
Yeah.
The only question I really have coming out of this game, though, for the Cowboys, I know we talked about it a little bit before the week. Can the Cowboys play like this versus playoff teams? Because they're spanking non-playoff teams.
Not even playoff teams versus good teams, like
true,
moderately good teams. They don't have a win against a team with more than 4 wins themselves. So they haven't showed up to beat those big teams. And until we see that, I'm not going to say that they're Super Bowl contenders. They're obviously a playoff team, but until they do that, until they shut people up and say, we can take it to these teams, I'm not going to have any confidence that they're going to be a contender in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we might get a little taste of it next week. We'll get to that in the next video, but
yeah,
they got a pretty solid team coming up. Let's move to the Thanksgiving night game in Seattle. Speaking of the team the Cowboys are about to play, the 49ers went to play the 12th man, and the 12th man, I don't know where he was, because I think he might have been home eating that Thanksgiving meal, because the 49ers took care of business. No Kenneth Walker in this one for the Seahawks, which probably affected the game. But the 49ers just took care of business in this one, really. 31-13.
Yeah, they did. I didn't think the Seahawks were going to win. I picked the Seahawks just for the sake of knowing that you would pick the 49ers. And the Seahawks seem to be a relatively competent and playoff contending team. So I thought maybe they could squeak out the win, but no. The 12th man did not show up to play at all, just like you said. And the 49ers showed out. They are a very tough football team. They're likely going to be in the NFC Championship, just like last year. You're probably going to see a rematch of what last year's was. These teams.
I can't see it not being the 49ers and Eagles at this point.
No. Honestly, like, this should be the Super Bowl if it could be, but the league is the way it is, and they cannot be. So either way, this should be the NFC Championship. Book it, and should be an entertaining show, especially next week too. We get a preview.
Yes, that's going to be a fun one, and we already know what the game of the week is going to be. But one thing in defense of the Seahawks, Geno Smith, his elbow that he hurt last week looked pretty swollen in this game. I think it was affecting him. And I don't know if he should have been playing, to be honest, against a really good 49er. He was getting smacked around and he was already injured. It was making me nervous. He's still probably better than Drew Lock, though. I don't know. But I think maybe they should have just went with Drew Lock in this one.
Yeah. It kind of gets into like what the NBA is going through with like benching star players during competitive games, and you want to see that star power come out and give you the best opportunity to win, and give you the best opportunity to sell seats. So if you got to imagine if Geno wasn't playing, that there wouldn't be a lot of people tuning in. There wouldn't be a lot of kind of walk-up fans. I don't know how many walk-up fans NFL games get. I think they pretty much sold out weeks in advance, but either way,
game, though, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Their best chance to win was with Geno, even if he was hurt.
Yeah, you're right. McCaffrey also got back to his scoring ways, but I guess it doesn't really super matter anymore since he lost it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the first ever Black Friday game in MetLife Stadium, the Dolphins and the Jets. And this went how we pretty much expected it to. Well, I don't know. I thought the Dolphins might have been able to do more offensively. The Jets defense wasn't too bad. It's been like it is all season. The offense can't do anything. The defense has to be on the field all day long, and they cannot stop, especially a team like the Dolphins, that many times. So the Dolphins took it 34-13, and Boyle didn't really look any better than Zach Wilson. So
yeah, the Jets offense is terrible. And you got to imagine, you got to look at it too. Like, how much of this offense struggles lie on the offensive coordinator. So the offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett. And look at last year with the Broncos. The Broncos offense was atrocious last year. So bad. The Broncos are a relatively competent team with a decent offense this year. So with the same personnel, they're able to do a lot more just by changing their coordinator. So you got to wonder, like, could that be affecting it? I know Zach Wilson sucks. Tim Boyle also isn't good. So how much are they being held back as well by their coordinator?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Nathaniel Hackett, I think, is pretty much carried by Aaron Rodgers for most of his career. And without him, he has not shown anything. So yeah, I think you have a point there. I'd like to see them try to give Trevor Siemian a shot at quarterback. I think he'd be better than
Why
Tim
not?
Boyle.
I mean, he's been around. He knows what to do.
Yeah, he's a vet.
And
I think he could get the ball to the open receivers at least, right? That's more than what they're getting right now.
At least get it to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Devon A-Chain missed this game. Tyreek Hill getting ever closer to the receiving yard record held by Calvin Johnson, Megatron. I think at this point, I think at this point it's almost, unless he gets hurt, like,
he's gonna break it.
He's gonna break that thing. And the Finns defense had a pretty good game. It looks like they're getting way better with Jalen Ramsey now. There's a 99-yard pick six in this one. Yeah,
saw that. Yeah. I saw some videos online saying it was worse than the butt fumble. Nothing is worse than the butt fumble. So it was just a pick six. It was just a pick six and some missed tackling, which you see every week. So nothing's worse than the butt fumble.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Although the Tony Romo field goal fumble is pretty epic as well. It's not a butt fumble, but it makes me happy. So
because it's Tony Romo.
Because exactly. All right, let's move to the regular Sunday games. First one, 1 p.m. in Atlanta, the Saints and the Falcons. This was a very big game for that division. Whoever won was going to maintain or take the lead in the division. And the Falcons showed a little more than a beat-up Saints team. Falcons took it 24-15, and with that win, took over the division. No Michael Thomas for the Saints. The Falcons finally using Bijan. Maybe they've been listening to you.
Finally using Bijan and just using the running game in general. Like, Algier was really good for them last year. The running game last year was their identity with Patterson and Algier, and now they're using it finally with Bijan and Algier there. So, I mean, even Patterson got some burn this week, and their offense looked pretty decent, looked pretty competent against a relatively good Saints defense. So, I think it's a step in the right direction for them, a step in the right direction for Art Smith in terms of taking what he has and utilizing his best talents to win games.
Yeah, I think they have a decent shot at making the playoffs with how this division is looking right now. This was another game, by the way, where there's another pick six. Jesse Bates had a very long pick six, I think, to win the game. Maybe I could be wrong about that. I didn't actually watch it. I just wrote that down. But the Saints, this was like a disaster game, to be honest. Olave was doing pretty good, but he went out with a concussion. Rashid Shaheed left with a thigh injury. They were already missing Michael Thomas. That receiving room is an empty cupboard at this point with all the injuries. Falcons, yay, I guess. I don't know. Go Atlanta. Oh, one thing I will say, I saw a stat that said that Derek Carr has been like the least accurate quarterback with open receivers this year. That's not a good stat that you want for a highly paid quarterback.
Not a good stat. What was his contract? Like 103 million or something like that?
It was big.
Yeah, so we don't want that.
No, he's got to do better. Let's move.
And he should do better. He's a vet.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move to the game that I was at in Cincinnati, the Steelers and the Bengals. Bengals Stadium, I want to say, it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice stadium. I enjoyed it. It was loud in there, but the tailgating was subpar. I'm just going to say it. They tailgate at Longworth Hall. It's like a 10-minute walk to the stadium because the stadium doesn't have good tailgating. And I've seen. I went to West Virginia University. They tailgate way better there than at Bengals Stadium for a divisional game. I was disappointed. That's all. I was disappointed.
Yeah. I don't think Cincinnati's necessarily known for their tailgates. Come to Philly. They're known for tailgates. So they can show them how to do it. So
I'll go there in a Giants jersey.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of love there. Anyway, this one we knew kind of what was going to happen. No Burrow for the Bengals, but Browning didn't look terrible. He looked like he wasn't afraid of the defense. He wasn't hesitant at all. He just isn't as good as Burrow. He isn't as good as a lot of quarterbacks. But so he's held back by talent there against a good defense. But he stepped up to the face of pressure and looked pretty competent in my eyes. As far as like the eye test, but Steelers should have won this game. They did with this game, and one stat here I just want to point out here, little factoid. Kenny Pickett, his career pass touchdowns since week 4 of 2022 compared to three notable quarterbacks. Number one, Jordan Love has 20 pass touchdowns since week 4 of last year, and that is in 14 games. Aaron Rodgers, 22 pass touchdowns since week 4 of last year in 15 games. And an individual that has not played this year and is retired, Tom Brady, 22 pass touchdowns in 14 games. So when you're going back to a full season and an additional 8 games on top of that, and you're getting passed by guys who this is their first season, and a guy who was retired in touchdowns, and Rodgers who hasn't played at all this year and wasn't even good last year. Like, come on. Like, Kenny Pickett, you got to do better, guy. I know Matt Canada sucked, but you got to do better.
Yeah. I mean, I think he will do better. With Matt Canada, I feel like you've probably heard this stat by now, but the Steelers had their first 400-yard game this week. In the first game without Matt Canada, first 400-yard game since COVID, all right?
It was like 52 games.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like,
that shows
fucking
how
kidding
bad.
Me?
How did they stick with this guy all these years? That shows how bad that the offense was with him. It was a net. But yeah, Steelers defense did great. TJ Watt looked good, and Steelers fans were rocking the stadium. Terrible towels everywhere. It was a good time since I was wearing yellow. But let's move to Houston. The Jaguars coming in to take on a solid Houston team that lost last week, but this was a huge game. Pretty much whoever won this game, I was in my mind, it was like they're gonna win the division, and it came down to the wire. The Jaguars did take it 24-21. Calvin Ridley looked good out there. Josh Allen on defense, huge defensive game. Stroud was great, but it was not enough as the Texans miss a field goal off the crossbar right at the end of the game. They could have tied it up and gone to overtime.
Yeah, they had a couple mishaps there at the end too that pushed them further back. So it would have been a closer field goal had they not had those. And Stroud did what he had to do, got them to where they needed to go to tie the game, go push overtime. But every week it seems like he's putting them in situations to win. So that's really what you want. And in their first year, they're exceeding expectations by a landslide. So let's keep the ball rolling with Texans, but Jaguars did get the W, and they're improved in the division to kind of have the stranglehold on that.
Yeah, I think the Jags are pretty much set to make the playoffs, and the Texans are now going to be fighting. This was the 4th straight 300-yard game for CJ Stroud, which sets another rookie record. He's just crushing all the records this year. But yeah, I think both of these teams should be in the playoffs at the end of the year.
I do as well. I think the Texans are going to get probably the 7th seed, or not 7, the 6th seed in the AFC.
Yeah, especially with the Browns and Bengals both getting demolished with the injury bug. But yeah, let's move to Indianapolis. This was one of our first big splits of the week. The Buccaneers versus the Colts. I picked the Bucs and Baker Mayfield. You said no, the Colts and Gardner Minshew are taking it. You were correct. The Colts won 27-20. Huge loss for the Buccaneers, who now sit at 4-7. And even in a bad division, they're down on 2 games, or maybe just 1 game, but still they're down. Baker found Mike Evans in the end zone a few times in another up and down Baker game that we're getting used to, but relentless pressure all day on him, forcing 6 sacks. And for the Colts, Jonathan Taylor looked pretty good.
Yeah, this wasn't really a Minshew game. He didn't put up a ton of numbers, just did what he had to do as a game manager, but it was a Jonathan Taylor game, 97 yards on the ground, and I think 2 touchdowns. So really good game for him. Looked like his old self, and the Colts are fighting for a playoff spot right now. And right now, I think they would make it in. So
yeah, the Colts, I never considered them as a playoff team until this week. I think they could actually make it now. So
what's crazy is you might see 3 teams from the AFC South.
Yeah, who would have thought that?
Who would have thought? Like 2 weeks ago, it would have been possibly all 4 teams from the NFC or AFC North, and now 3 teams from the AFC South might make it in.
It just goes to show you how quick things can change in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move to New York. MetLife Stadium. The Patriots coming into town to face the Giants in a Super Bowl, 10 years ago, 12 years ago rematch. Yeah, both these teams were terrible coming into the game. I said the Giants are gonna win it though. They got the Patriots number, and guess what? They did exactly that. They win an ugly game, 10-7. Pat's defense can't win it by themselves because, yeah, their offense is absolutely atrocious. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi both were terrible. They
Yeah.
combined for 3 interceptions in a stunning display of ineptness on offense. They were outdueled by the Italiano Tommy DeVito. Yeah,
I think
Tommy
outdueled
bench.
is a bold choice of words there, but Tommy DeVito did get the win.
He did, yeah, yeah. He doesn't look too bad. He's making some big time throws. He's impressing me, to be honest. I mean, he's not like great or anything,
No,
but
yeah,
he's been impressive.
he's definitely impressing me as well, and I don't think he's necessarily at this point earned the spot next year, but
Yeah,
he's certainly earned a backup role. Certainly earned a backup role to be like a Gardner Minshew type that is a reliable backup that you can throw out there. Maybe he battles for the starting spot depending who it is as like a
yeah,
stopgap, but it'll be interesting. I hope he improves throughout the year, and he's exciting to watch at least. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, yep. I think honestly, I don't think he's gonna be starting the next game. I think Tyrod Taylor's coming back. I
Oh,
feel like
really?
we're probably gonna give him the start. It's in 2 weeks because we got a bye week, but
But you're not
we'll
battling
see.
for anything, so why give it to Taylor?
True. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really care either way, to be honest. But one thing I will say, Will Greer got cut by the Patriots. It's very upsetting. I still think they should be starting him, but we'll see what the Patriots do. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Will Greer should have a spot there, and sucks to see him continuously get added and dropped from rosters.
Yeah, he looks good when he gets a shot, but
Yeah.
whatever. Let's move to Tennessee. The Panthers versus the Titans. Yeah, the Titans win. What do you got?
Not too much going in this game for me. Titans, we thought were a better team. They were the better team here. Titans defense was better. They had the better running game. Miles Sanders just can't get anything going there. And hey, the Panthers, Bryce Young, not good. Offense, not good. So they ended up firing Frank Reich, and
Which is crazy.
Frank Reich, who in 2017 was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, was the head coach for the Colts. He has pedigree, and to be fired after 1 year on a team that shouldn't have been doing
Not
anything to begin
even
with.
11
Yeah,
games into 1 year. And
11 games in on a team that sucks. So
yeah.
it just shows that front office doesn't really know what their direction is. They think they want to be good, but they don't have the personnel to be good. So I think that's kind of tough to lay that on a head coach and say, like, we want you to compete for the playoffs, but we're not going to give you the product to do it.
It's crazy. Like the owner, David Tepper, I think he's going to be one of those crazy owners that makes moves like this because he just wants to win, but he doesn't want to like get the work to get there.
Yeah.
Frank Reich has a 4-year guaranteed contract, and he lasted 11 games. He's going to be paying him. Frank Reich should just not coach anymore. I think he's retiring. So
or he should just go and
money.
like do whatever makes him happy in terms of like football. If he wants to be an offensive coordinator, if he wants to be a quarterback coach for a year, go ahead and do it. If he wants to go ahead and be an advisor for a team, do it. Jump on to the Eagles and be an advisor for the offensive coordinator there who could use some play calling instruction. So do it. You can do whatever the hell you want because you're getting guaranteed money.
I'm saying he's 62 years old now, so he's kind of an old man, even though there are some like 70-year-old coaches out there. But David Tepper is going to be paying this man for the next 4 years if he doesn't accept another coaching role. So why
just sit on the beach?
Just go to the Bahamas, hang out, spend David Tepper's money. Yeah, big Derrick Henry game though. I kind of called that one, so I was happy about that. But yeah, a couple bad teams. So let's just move, huh?
Yeah.
4 p.m. slate in Arizona. The Rams coming into town. I thought it was going to be a closer game. I thought the Cardinals had a shot, but Kyron Williams coming back for the Rams had a huge game in his first game back.
Yeah,
and
I think that really is all that needs to be said about this game is just Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams took over the entire game. He looked like one of the best running backs, one of the best players in football. I traded him in our league for Calvin Ridley, and that has proved. I mean, Calvin Ridley's been solid the last few games, but not in what Kyron Williams is doing. 16 carries for 143 yards, 61 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. The dude is putting up numbers. He was a top tier back before he got hurt, and he just stepped right into it.
Yes, sir. He looks really good. And the Rams are trying to claw their way back into the playoff hunt. We'll see if they can manage it. They got some decent games coming up. But yeah, I hope they do, because I want to see him and Stafford back in the playoffs.
And Puka and Cup
Yeah, Puka and Cup.
and
They
Tutu.
had a pretty quiet game. They didn't need to do much with Kyron Williams going off.
What's up with the 4-letter names for the receivers? Cup,
Yeah.
Puka, Tutu.
Yeah. The Rams receiving room is pretty fun. It's like a circus.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to Mile High Stadium. The Brownies playing the Broncos. This was a disaster game for the Browns. The Broncos continue their wild winning streak with their 5th straight win. A pretty dominant win, too, against the Brownies. But for the Browns, the quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, gets knocked out with a concussion. Amari Cooper gets knocked out of the game with a rib injury. And Myles Garrett with a shoulder injury, wearing a shoulder sling after the game. They're nervous about him now. It was literally a complete disaster for the Browns, and they're still in the playoff hunt, but I'm nervous that they're going to fall out of it at this point with all these injuries.
Yeah. I mean, they're still in the hunt just because of their record, but they're just going to keep falling. They're going to keep falling. And it's honestly, this game was a lot like the Jets. I mean, the defense for the Browns is really fucking good, but their offense is so bad without a confident quarterback that they're not going to really be able to do much. So the defense is on the field most of the game. Broncos took this. They should have taken it, and they did. So not much to be said there. I will say I saw on Instagram a cameraman that was interviewing. There was an interview with Myles Garrett after the game, and he was in the locker room. He was shirtless, just in a pair of sweats, and the cameraman kept panning down to his massive dong.
Yeah. How fun.
Yeah. Hey, eyes up here, buddy. Like,
yeah, literally. One thing for the Browns, I saw that they signed Joe Flacco. He literally could be starting for the Browns in the next week. That's
interesting.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm good with that one though. If you want to push.
Yeah, let's go to Vegas. The Chiefs coming into town, and yeah, it went how we thought. The Chiefs won 31-17. For the Chiefs, though, Rashee Rice had a bit of a breakout game. They really need him to get going. They need a receiver, and this could be it. This could be the moment where the rookie figures it out, and he could be big for him moving forward.
Yeah, he's been their only consistent receiving option this year, outside of Kelsey. But even Kelsey's taken a drop this year. So I think Rice is possibly the real deal for them. I don't think he's necessarily going to be like a next Tyreek Hill, but he's going to be like a competent receiver for them. Maybe like a wide receiver too, in like fantasy, but he's going to be solid with them. With Patrick Mahomes, sky is really the limit. So any consistent option there is really, really great. So Valdez-Scantling is not that guy. I don't think he's going to get a target for the rest of the year. I will say to start out the game here, it looked like the Raiders were going to kind of like steamroll the Chiefs. They got out to a 14-0 lead really early and were running all over them, but Chiefs came back and ended up blowing them out. So it is what it is. We knew the Chiefs were going to win. They did.
Yeah. Aiden O'Connell looked pretty good in this one for the Raiders. Maybe he's improving enough to be something to talk about. I don't know. And like you said, Josh Jacobs had a good game, but the Chiefs need Rashee Rice. If they want to make a deep playoff run, I think they need Rashee Rice to break out, and this could be it. Let's move to our game of the week in Philadelphia. The Bills, the Eagles. Really good game. Did not end.
Yeah, this might be the game of the year so far. This was a hell of a game.
Went to overtime. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I watched this with our buddy James and LJ, and me and James were both sweating there. So going into the half, I was like, dude, don't count out Jalen Hurts because he's that guy. When he is behind, his QBR skyrockets. It's like one of the best in NFL history when he's behind. The dude just like literally you can pan over to him on the sideline and like that meme of Derek Carr where he's like looking down, his eyes are like glazed over and he just looks mean and pissed off. That happens to Hurts every time they're losing. The camera pans over to him and then he comes out and just balls his ass off. So Hurts, for whatever reason, becomes a different quarterback when they're winning, and he did what was necessary. He took over the game and the Eagles got the win in overtime. It was very exciting, very nail biting, and very nerve wracking.
Yeah. Hurts had 5 total touchdowns, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And a comeback win too. I saw a video of him and Kelsey, the center. They looked absolutely pissed when the Eagles kicked the field goal instead of going for the game winning touchdown at the end. I thought that was
but Elliott got it though. Got that 60-yarder in the wind, in the rain. That was a dart. Really low, really cool.
I got some quick trivia for you. So who leads the league in pass touchdowns right now today with 24 touchdowns?
Pass touchdowns. CJ Stroud.
No, it is now Josh Allen with 24 touchdowns.
All right. Josh Allen, 24 touchdowns, 24 interceptions.
Yeah, I was going to say, who leads the league in interceptions thrown?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. He's tied with Sam Howell. They both have 13 interceptions. So that just goes to show you that Josh Allen is a loose cannon. He always has been, but
he's that Brett Favre type player. He has the most interceptions in the last 4 years. I think it's like 84 or 86 or something like that in terms of like how many interceptions he has, which is wild.
Yeah, he's thrown an interception in 8 consecutive games now, which is crazy. And that's kind of why the Bills are on the verge of missing the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, he definitely needs better decision making. If he can improve that, the Bills can go a lot further.
All right, let's move to Sunday Night Football in LA. The Ravens and the Chargers. The Ravens pretty much took out the Chargers' playoffs hope with a strong defensive showing in this win. They weren't great on offense after they lose Mark Andrews. They need Flowers and OBJ to really step up if they want to make a huge playoff run here, I think. But for the Chargers, I really just think Brandon Staley needs to go at this point. They're losing too many games.
No, they have talent. They should be able to be good. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Eckler alone should be able to get them some wins. I mean, those are competent players, but that's just as much as in terms of weapons as the Bucs have with a better quarterback, and the Bucs look more competent on offense. So I don't know. Staley needs to go. This team should be better than they are. Their defense fucking sucks. And they have some playmakers there. I know Bosa's done for the year, and but they still have Khalil Mack. They still have guys back there, and for them to be as bad as they are is just a travesty.
It is a travesty. The Ravens look like they could be the Super Bowl team. Mark Andrews hurts, obviously, but I don't know who has really the competition on their conference,
Yeah, it's either the Ravens or the Chiefs.
Yeah. I know we're moving. I have another quick trivia for you.
Go ahead.
Lamar Jackson now has over 5,000 rushing yards as a quarterback, making him the 4th quarterback in NFL history to hit that mark. Can you name the 3 quarterbacks that are ahead of him that hit it first?
Mike Vick
with 6,109.
Cam Newton,
5,628. The third one is active. It's the only surprising one to me.
Aaron Rodgers?
No, I didn't realize this guy ran as much as he did, but it's Russell Wilson.
Oh, wow. Russell Wilson. I don't think of him as much of a runner. I do think of him as an escape artist. So he escapes the pocket and creates plays. I don't think of him as taking off, though.
Yeah, he's got about 200 more yards than Lamar right now. I think Lamar's probably going to crush. I don't know if he'll catch Vic, but I think he could. I think he really could because he's still pretty young. But yeah, let's move to Minnesota. The Bears heading into town, Monday Night Football. And it's kind of a gross game, to be honest. The Bears ended up winning it 12-10. No touchdowns for the Bears in this win, which was pretty wild. But they didn't have to do too much offensively because their defense was just causing havoc. The Pasternak came back to earth. He threw 4 picks in a bad game that really hurts the Vikings.
Yeah. I expected a lot more of the Pasternak, and this might be why he hasn't had a job at this point. He's coming back down to what people expected of him. Was really playing higher than what his abilities were prior to this. So I don't know. I hope he does more. He's an exciting story. He's an exciting player to watch. Just to not have it this game, and hopefully he can rebound. But not too much to be said. Really bad game. Both teams sucked. Only good connection looked like Fields and DJ Moore.
Yeah, I really hope we get to see Jefferson come back. They have a bye week, so he can stay a little healthier. But I keep
thinking he's coming back every week because they're never listing it. And then until the day of the game, and it's like, all right, well, he's not playing. It's like, okay, well,
they're like teasing.
Really sucks for Jefferson owners, but
But anyway, that rounds up the games. There were no bye week teams this week, so we hit all of them. I was 9-7. You were what, 11 and 5?
I was 10 and 6.
10 and 6. Okay.
Yeah, we split on the 49ers. I was 10 and 6. So I picked up one game on it.
There we go. So it remains ever so close. So make sure you watch the next video to see if one of us can take charge of this thing.
Yeah. So like you said, that's a wrap on another episode. Hey, Flea Flicker Nation, the best way to support our show is leave a rating and review on all platforms and you listen on, and of course by liking the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Flea Flicker Show on YouTube. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all social media. And thank you, Flea Flicker Nation, for tuning in. Until next time.
Till next time, baby. Peace. See you in the prediction.